Hey YouTube, so I'm making another video today about my Windows Azure tenant portal and the VPN that I created. And today, the whole goal of this video is to keep it short and simple, but direct to the point and show you what I've done in my Windows Azure portal. And right now I'm navigated to this Microsoft URL, and we can see the basic networking components to build and configure our infrastructure as a service. As an example, if we had a client application that required port 443, we can direct these clients into a load balancer, which will intelligently decide on which application server to use, and from there the application server can forward requests to another load balancer, thus making access into our database tier on port 1433. Pretty simple stuff, especially when it's on someone else's website. But to actually create this in Windows Azure, you've got to jump through a couple hoops to actually make this happen. Not that it's hard, but if you've never done it before, it's always nice to see a good example. So here we are in my SonicWall TZ105 firewall router, and as you can see right here, we're looking at the VPN policy, the settings, and I have a green light specific to this VPN is now up and running. So during the course of creating this VPN, I created an address space with pretty much 3 usable subnets, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. But what we're trying to really accomplish in this video is look at some of the relationships and dependencies between some of the components in Windows Azure and outline them in a specific document that I'm going to talk about that is completely in reference to what I've set up in Windows Azure. So again, we have a VPN that's online, and right now I'm at my login portal page using my Note Organizer application. I can quickly log in. Let's just click to copy, make sure I got this right, put my password in here, and let's sign in. Within the all items container, we have an object here called my cloud, which is type virtual network. It's created and it looks functional, so clicking into this takes us to the front page and looking at the dashboard. So we've come up and it shows that our gateway VPN looks to be online. We are passing data in and out, and I also have 2 virtual machines. Now I just wanted to show this for demonstration purposes. If my VPN was not working, Windows Azure, my cloud, if my Windows Azure VPN was not connecting, this is what it would look like. Our green is just moved into the yellow, and we see that we are now trying to connect. So while we're at the dashboard, using the manage key, this is the key that I just copied. This key was what went into my SonicWall VPN policy to make this actually connect. Going down in here, this is where the secret key goes. But drilling into the configure page and then scrolling down a little bit, again, we can see that this is a site-to-site VPN connectivity, and this is the address space that was used to initially create this network, thus creating these subnets. Now notice we have DMZ, production, and production 2. And in reference to our image, the web tier would be our DMZ, the database tier would be our production, and I actually have another subnet, production 2, which really doesn't reflect in this image, but I have put load balancers within this network. This page doesn't reflect those load balancers, but we're going to get there in just a couple moments. So from here on out, I'm going to try to do everything within the new portal page because I'm pretty confident that switching to the new portal, what we're looking at here is pretty much going to be the new interface where we're not going to have a choice to go back. So within this interface, let's go to Browse, and typically I always like to start with the resource groups. Resource groups are a very powerful organizational unit. So as an example, I'm really only utilizing one of those subnets that I demonstrated. So clicking into the DMZ.FSP, again I have two virtual machines, and right now these virtual machines are turned off. So while I'm here, I'm going to turn these on real quick, and we're going to come back to these a little bit later. So selecting 002, selecting start, and then navigating to 003. Let's select start on this just as well. And of course we have our notifications over here. That doesn't look good. So while those two machines are now starting up, this image kind of reflects everything that I've just drilled through, but really quick. And this is pretty much the meat of everything that I'm trying to demonstrate. And just as a quick example, here's my local network with my sonic wall, and I created my VPN. So we have connectivity between both of these networks, both way. And here again, we're demonstrating the address space with the associated subnets, and for demonstration purposes, client traffic comes into the load balancer. The load balancer is programmed to decide what application server it's going to deliver its traffic. In this example, I'll be setting up some ADFS proxy servers within the DMZs. These are the WAP servers that's going to pass identity information back to the ADFS server in the production 1 subnets. Now I haven't got this far other than installing 2 servers into the DMZ, but I'm going to demonstrate how the load balancer is configured and that it is functional. In this image, let's take away a couple key points right here. It's important to understand that when we create virtual machines, we have to place them in a subnet. And in this case, I've created 2 virtual machines and put them into the DMZ subnet. Now I have no choice in this matter. I have to put these virtual machines somewhere. So the next point to take is, so in Windows Azure we have another object that we call NSG, which is Network Security Group. Network security groups can kind of be looked at like a firewall. We can put inbound and outbound rules based on IP addresses, based on ports. So when we create NSGs, we have to associate the NSG to a subnet, and it's pretty much a 1-to-1 ratio. So as an example, we can have multiple virtual machines that are members of a subnet, but when we create our NSG, it can only be associated with one subnet. So these things are kind of married, they're connected at the hip at one way or the other. But when you put it all together, this image right here for the Azure networking layer, kind of think of the NSG as, I guess, a big bubble, a big egg, and within that it has to be next in line, it has to be associated with the subnet. And with the subnet, we have associated with the virtual machine, which of course comes with the virtual machine firewall and the virtual machine endpoints, right along with the load balancer. We associate load balancers to virtual machines and vice versa, as demonstrated in this image. So, in saying this and trying to articulate the partnerships, the relationships between these specific objects in Windows Azure, really the next step, or I should say the next video, is about actually building this stuff.